Yeah, it's like I get everything set up and then I don't have anything to talk about.
Yeah, they come a boom.
Okay, YouTubers, I know this is what y'all came here for, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about transition stuff. Specifically, let's talk about me and my transition stuff, since this is my channel. Sounds good? Okay. Well, it's kind of hard to talk about. I guess a little history, like, my earliest sort of transgender memories were, of cross-dressing. Like, I can remember there was a TV show called Electra Woman and Power Girl, I think. And this is totally dating me, and this is an old show. But look it up. It's something like that. It was a Sid and Marty Krofft, like, live action Saturday morning show. And this was on when I was very, very young. And I remember, like, I wanted to be either Power Girl or Electra Woman, if I'm even saying their names right. I wanted to be one of them so badly. And so I would, like, kind of play with my sister a lot. I have a sister. I would play with her a lot, and we would, you know, we would sort of trade off as Electra Woman or Power Girl, and we would, you know, get ourselves into binds and, like, be tied up and stuff and have to be rescued and this and that. And it was awesome. And that was, you know, very young. I mean, seriously, that was, you know, preschool, or probably 4 years old or something like that. And I remembered cross-dressing a lot. You know, and I know a lot of, or I don't know, you hear some transsexual women say, like, they always felt like a girl from an early age. And I didn't really feel that way. I felt like I was different and, you know, weird, and definitely didn't feel like a boy, but I don't know. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I felt like a girl, you know, for sure. Just felt sort of different. So yeah, my earliest sort of memories of that were of cross-dressing kind of things. And I remember, it must have been 4th grade, I was somehow walking to school. I remember walking to school a lot, and I had a very rich internal fantasy life, and I would put it to good use, like, while I was walking to school. And I remember walking to school one day, and I was very aware of the word transvestite, and I kind of knew, or I thought that's what I was, you know. I don't even think there was a word, the term transsexual. Certainly was not in general usage, and I didn't know it. But I did know the word transvestite. So yeah, that was weird. And, you know, I mean, on Transponder they talked about, like, the beginning of their transitions and false starts and stuff. You know, I sort of knew, I was able to kind of put a label on myself and, like, being transsexual, and or I knew that I wanted to talk to somebody about this kind of seriously when I was, you know, 18 years old or something. Stuff was just kind of getting to a point where it seemed like the right time to do it, sort of. And at the time, like, my sister was seeing a therapist, and my mom, I have been caught numerous times with, you know, clothes and things. And my mom asked me at that time if I wanted to go with my sister and see this therapist. And I could not even talk about any of this with her. Like, the words would not come out of my mouth, if that makes sense. You know, I could not form any of these thoughts into words at all. And so, I don't know what that was from, like, it was shame or embarrassment or whatever, but yeah, that's something that, you know, has been, like, kind of a real block throughout my life. You know, it's like, if I would have heard the words for this, or if I would have known, like I don't even have any memories of, except for like the movie Tootsie or something. I don't have any good examples that I can look forward to, I don't have any good examples that I can look to. Good examples of transgenderism or transsexualism. It seems so foreign and so alien to me, is what I'm trying to say. And so, when my mom asked me that if I wanted to talk to somebody, it just seemed crazy, like a crazy notion. And there is no way I could talk to somebody. I think I muttered something about, I didn't want to talk about it, and that was it. And that was my big chance. I mean, really, things could have been okay. Or I don't know. Things could have progressed differently, I guess. And that was when like I said, when I was 17 years old. I went to college and didn't do very well there at all. But while I was at college, I spent a lot of time at the library reading. I don't want to date myself, but this is like just the beginning of the internet. They had a network that was in theory, but this is even before general usage. Kind of just people in college and universities would use it. So yeah, there wasn't a lot available out there. Okay, here's a funny story. I remember going to get an email address because I worked at this summer camp and I met a girl there and she seemed really cool and she's like, hey, you should send me an email. And I'm like, what the hell is an email? And she's like, oh, it's electronic mail, it's the newest thing. I'm like, okay. And she's like, yeah, go talk to your whoever on campus. And so I had to go to the math department and talk to this crusty old Unix guy who he had the real long hair and then he had a real long beard and they all kind of grew together. Yeah, one of those guys, the super uber original hacker guys. That was him, and he had a PhD in mathematics, and he did a command line kind of thing and set me up with an account that I never used because I couldn't really figure it out at the time. It was so, Unix seemed, I'm getting way off topic here, but Unix seemed so crazy at the time. It just wasn't anything that I was used to. It seemed really hardcore. So yeah, I never really used that. So when I was so that was the extent of the World Wide Web, such as it was. I don't even think there was a World Wide Web by then. There's probably still BBSs or something. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I spent a lot of time in the library, reading books. The old-fashioned kind. You have to open them and stuff. Yeah, and I kind of read everything that I could, and we had a nice kind of research library. And I read everything I could about, being transsexual and, and transvestites and just transgendered stuff in general. And unfortunately, most of them were, most of the things I read were just these psychological tomes, these research studies that had a lot of statistics and stuff, and, some conclusions, but not a lot of personal experiences. Sometimes they had personal anecdotes from some of the people that they studied, but they were few and far between. But still, I read through all of them because, I had to figure out something. I had to learn something. So, I don't know. Anyway, I flunked out of that school, or I was asked to leave, just for general poor behavior and poor grades. And went and did a bunch of stuff. I really put any sort of transition thoughts on hold for quite a while, I don't know, another 8 years or something.
And we are doing, and we are screwing up our lives.